AJ Nisi, head girls basketball coach at Culver, joins me. Man, I wanted to check in with you. Mitch and I were kind of fighting over you as a guest today. Neither one of us had checked in with you for a while. Wanted to let people know how you guys are doing, and obviously, really, really good.
Yeah, we're not doing too bad. We ran into a little bit of a slobber knocker last night against North Judson. Ended up losing that game by 8. But we shot 8 of 21 for the free throw line, so that one
Yeah,
kind of irritates me a little bit.
free throws are a lost art, man. People want to shoot the three now.
Yep, that's for sure. I love Steph Curry to death, but he kind of changed the game in a bad way for us.
You've had two in a row where, but the thing is, Judson having a great year. Culver Academy is obviously, they got to be considered a favorite in their sectional. I mean, the two teams in a row that you stayed with that are having great years.
Oh yeah, for sure. And a lot of people didn't see us winning either of those games, but we had CMA on the ropes. It ended up being 15, but it was a lot closer of a game than uh, the score showed. We were up 2 at half. I think we are down 6 going into the fourth quarter, and they just wore us down a little bit.
Yeah, I was following that score. I think I was at another game that night, and I was thinking, man, this is going to be interesting because you were coming down the stretch. You were right there with them. They've got some really good players.
Yeah, they got a really good freshman in Laney Lyles, uh, and they got a couple bigs in the Binkley girl and the Brum girl that can shoot the ball pretty well and stuff like that. Yeah, they're they're ready for a long postseason run. It seems like over there.
Yeah, I mean, you're not in a bad position either. I mean, up to the last couple of night or last couple of games where you knew they were going to be tough. I mean, you've won games, but I think even more importantly, you've won them the way you should win them. I mean, it's not like there's any doubt when you get in there.
No, that's for sure. And it seems like we were we were at that point the last 2 games too, and like you said, we were winning them the way we want to win them, and I think the last 2 we lost them not the way we wanted to lose them. A couple key turnovers, missing free throws, giving up a couple offensive rebounds here and there like that. That makes a 2-point game turn into a 10 or 12 point game in a minute and a half.
Yeah, you got to be happy with your defense. So I mean, 34, 35 points a game average. That's a good number.
Yeah, that's about where we want to be at. I always tell the girls and our coaching staff, if you talk to Adam or over there at Laporte, he runs the same stuff, and we want to. It's a race to 35 is where it is, and
Yeah.
that's about where we're at. So if we can get to 35 before they do, usually we're pretty good.
How about offensively? How do you feel about where you're at there?
Um, I feel pretty good. Like I said, we got to hone in and start making some free throws when we get to the line. Some games we don't get to the line, and that bothers us a little bit because we have some pretty good athletes that we think that can get anywhere they want at any given time. It just depends on how girls basketball is.
Right.
Depends on what kind of mood they're in that day.
Yeah.
If they want to be that dog or if they want to sit out there and try and play Steph Curry and shoot threes. But we're I'm pretty happy. Our coaching staff's pretty happy with the way we're playing right now. I think we're averaging like 43 points a game, somewhere around there, and I'd like to be closer to the 48, 49, 50, especially only giving up 35. But we're scoring the ball at a pretty high clip with our sophomores and Ava McHugh, Ashlyn Barrett. Brianna Schemmler's shooting the ball pretty well right now. And then, if we can get 5 or 6, maybe 10 points apiece from Eliana, Andrew Jeske, and Brooke Davis, we're sitting pretty good then.
Let's talk about you guys a little bit. I mean, I remember the last time I saw you play, Ava had a night out of her mind. She had more numbers and stat totals in one game than I had in my whole career. But she is a dynamic player.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that she's only a sophomore and doing those
Yeah,
things. And like I said, her jump shot starting to come along. You actually had to come out and contest her a little bit now. Like last year, she didn't really shoot the ball. She just got fast break layups, stuff like that. But now she's starting to hit the shot. Or jump shots a little bit better. Same with Ashlyn. Ashlyn's turning into a downhill kind of kid now. So you have to key in on her attack. Plus, she's a heck of a little jump shooter.
Yeah, and Ashley, I saw her play as well. I mean, she's a Barons. I mean, she can play the game. I mean, pretty much anything you need her to do, it looks like she can do.
Yep, she's kind of our Swiss Army knife. If I tell her, hey, you got the ball this possession, go, you play the point. Let Ava get off the ball a little bit. Just okay, I got you, coach. What am I doing? I said, do what you do, make the right play, and more possessions than none. She's making the right play, either dishing it off or getting to the basket and scoring for us.
You mentioned Brianna too. I mean, I remember her from last year. She can. I mean, given night when she gets hot, you better challenge a shot because she can. I mean, she can shoot the basketball.
Oh yeah, she can fill it up with the best of them. Some nights it's they're on her tight. Like last night, I think she only took 5 shots last night, but she made 4 or 5. But
Yeah.
other nights she might get 15 or 16 off, depending on what kind of defense we're facing. And she could go 15 of 16, or she could go 3 of 16, depending on the night.
That's the way it is with a shooter, though, isn't it? I mean, shooters just got to shoot because eventually they'll start falling.
Yes, exactly. And that's why I keep telling these girls. I said, man, if you have a bad night, that's fine. Let's try and adjust. Your jump shot's not falling. Let's see the ball go through the hoop. Let's get to the block. Let's get a free throw in. Let's see the ball go through, and that's going to open it up tremendously for you.
And I know you had the two other girls I mean, I thought Brooke Davis had a great night when I saw you play. Eliana is just rock solid. I mean, both of them give you a different aspect out there too.
Yeah, they're more of our hustle girls.
Yeah.
They lock down on defense for us, and they make the hustle plays. They'll get the offensive rebounds or the defensive rebounds, and then they'll run the floor extremely well, and they'll get to the basket when we need them to. Stuff like that. They'll try and get to the free throw line, giving us extra possessions that because everybody's going to key in on Ashlyn, Ava, Brianna. Um, so those girls are going to be wide open, and they've been stepping up for us pretty big. I think they're both averaging about 6 or 7 points a game for us right now.
I know Brooke, the night I saw you play, she was just cleaning the glass. I mean, she was on the boards all night long, and if you got a player that's willing to do that, that makes everything a lot easier.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. If you finding that player that's got that grit, because I've always said rebounding is a art.
Yeah.
You have to know where the ball's coming off of, where it's coming from, and then you have to have a little bit of dog in you just to go grab it and rip it out of other people's hands. And she's been doing a great job of that. Same with Eliana. She's on the backside rebounding most of the time, and she's a little bit undersized, but she's got a lot of strength in her legs and her lower body to where she can move some bigger girls to where it doesn't seem like she's
Yeah.
as much undersized.
You got a couple coming up here, career academies tonight, then Knox. You get a little bit of a break after that, but boy, you got a killer schedule as you finish down the stretch run here too. I mean, Triton is always tough. Glenn is they're having a great year. Conference games in there too. I mean, it's going to be a stretch here where you're really going to have to be at your best, I would imagine.
Oh yes, for sure. Especially, we're sitting. I think it's like a 4 or 5 way tie at the top of our conference with us
Wow.
losing last night. We were leading the conference, so it's kind of like a 5 or 6 team race. And it seems like every night is a different story. You look at the scores, and it's like Triton beat North Miami, and then Caston beat Judson, and then Judson beat us. It's like the conference is wide open.
Yeah.
And then once you get down into the middle to end of January, you run into that bi-county tournament
Yeah.
where you got some pretty good teams in there. And I think as a coaching staff, we're up there with the top dogs. Us, Glenn, Bremen, I think are the favorite three there to win the whole thing. And I saw, we're tight with CMA throughout the game. The last maybe 2 minutes there, we had to go to the foul game, and then they go tight with Bremen two
Yeah.
nights ago.
Yeah.
So, and it's one of those things. It's like Indiana basketball this year is crazy because any given night somebody's beating somebody that you don't expect to be beating them.
I was going to say that bye county comes right at the right time for you too, because you head into the tournament pretty much immediately after that, and it would seem to me that gives you a great measuring stick of okay, what do we got to get better at the next week or so?
Yeah, for sure, and especially the way it's played out because we play a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday from
Right.
bye county, so it's almost like if you win, you're playing that sectional week build up for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's always great to have that one there, especially you're seeing teams that you normally don't see in your sectional or even your conference with like the Bremans, the Glens, the New Prairies. Um, Especially now, when I played, they were all in our conference.
Right.
Back in the old NSC, it
Yeah.
seemed like we were just playing a conference tournament back then.
Right. Yeah, it was. That's been a while, man. You
Yep. That was a long 15, 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, I tell you something. Bremen was in the NLC when I was playing, so that tells you how long ago it was
Yep.
for me. But yeah, that used to be a kind of a conference tournament. I mean, and I think it's become one of those things that it's never going to go away. Everybody, I mean, you have memories of it. I have memories of broadcasting it. I mean, it's one of those things that's just a tradition.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's one of those tournaments that no matter how it turned out, you always remember those games.
Oh yeah.
And especially that time of year, you always remember the weather because
Yeah.
it's always something getting canceled, or you're playing back to back or 3 games in the night or something like that.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that's coming up soon, so that ought to be fun, man. I want to thank you for taking the time. Appreciate it, and we'll be in touch soon. We'll catch up again.
All righty, Rusty. I appreciate you, man. Thank you.
AJ Neese, head coach at Culver. Matt Arvison, the head wrestling coach at Triton, joins me here in this segment of the Saturday Coaches Show. I'm glad we finally got a chance to get together. It's been like you and I both have weird schedules, I think. It was kind of tough, but it's good to have you on the line, man. Good to talk to you again.
Yeah, I'm glad we finally able to connect here. Yep.
Let's talk about your girls' team first, because I've had a couple of the other coaches on from around the area. They want to know what your secret is for getting a full girls' team. I mean, that's unbelievable. This is only the second year of sanctioned competition, and you can field a full team.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you it's not my secret. It's definitely my brother Jason's secret. He's the head coach of the girls team. I got him to come along there a couple years ago, and he's just embraced the process of not only getting the girls to come out for the sport, but really he's gotten a nice core of them to kind of buy into even the enjoyment of wrestling, if you can believe that. But yeah, they got a real good thing kind of off and running, and the girls are just having a blast. From day to day practices, and heck, they're even going on competition trips and stuff. And I mean, it's like full scale, like you said, within the first 2 years. He's just been a blessing, and we can only be hopeful that he just keeps wanting to do it for a while.
Well, let's talk about what that brings to the room, though. Too. I mean, do they probably practice a lot with you guys? I mean, it's got to bring a lot of energy to the whole program.
You know what's interesting? It's the exact opposite.
Really?
We don't practice together at all. The guys, we have the guys team in the wrestling room, and then what we do is we just keep up an extra full size wrestling mat right outside the wrestling room for the girls, and they just lay out the mat on the gym floor each day real quick, and then they have their practice out there. So it's completely separate, and I think it's beneficial to all. I know the girls prefer to just practice with the girls, and I think the guys ultimately just like to practice with the guys. And could they learn from each other? Oh, absolutely. But we're at such a beginning stage, and getting those girl numbers to kind of puff up and explode has been a little directed at that, just keeping the separation between the guys and the girls. We still see ourselves as Triton Wrestling um, in the big picture of things, but we are definitely two separate practices, two separate sets of competitions, and all that.
You, those numbers, though, I mean, there's got to be some energy within the school itself. I mean, you got a lot of people that are involved. And they go out in and talk to their fellow students and stuff. That's got to be a cool thing for the
Yeah.
school.
Yeah, last year's group, so it was a bunch of junior girls that decided they were going to give it a shot, and obviously they ended up having a fun year, and they did a little off-season wrestling, and now obviously they're a nice core group of seniors. But like what they did last year, and just like you said, kind of the word of mouth around the hallways with the younger ladies. Like this year, we have a nice group of freshman girls that have decided to give it a try for the same reason, like we're talking about. They just kind of heard that the older girls were having, fun and they were enjoying it, and it was something new for them to try. And now we're just trying to kind of suck those younger girls in and kind of get them to buy in so we can get a solid 4 years out of it. Yeah, the word of mouth on the girls' side has been fantastic.
Well, talk about their success a little bit too. I mean, they've been doing well. It's not like they're just going out there and competing. I mean, they're making a name for themselves.
Yeah, they've had a few kind of like individual tournaments where they've had oh gosh, anywhere from 4 to 7 girls placing top 4 of those tournaments. So they're having success, obviously, in the tournament format. But I also know they've been doing really well in the duels as well, just against other teams. Jason, he's even been taking them. I mean, they had one all the way up in Munster, Indiana this year, and they were competing against Penn and Maryville, some of these top tier teams, and they're taking their lumps by those experienced schools, but then they were also knocking off other schools like LaPorte and Munster and some of these other ones while they're up there. So they've definitely been seasoned this year for sure with the schedule, and I know they're walking into this Saturday. They're walking into their conference tournament, hoping to repeat because they were champs last year for the first ever conference one. So they just have it's just a lot of good energy on that team, and the girls have a really good time amongst each other. And Jason's just so good at kind of allowing them to have that fun piece, but trying to get just the smallest little squeeze of effort, technique out of them. But they're having a great time.
That is a tightrope that both of you walk. You with the guys. I mean, there's got to be some fun involved, or else people aren't going to want to do it. But wrestling is one of those things where you really got to commit if you want to be good, and it takes a lot of work.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. It's the understatement of the year. And I mean, if you want to be good, yeah. I mean, that is an insane amount of work and dedication to the sport. And I talk to the kids. I try and shoot this thought in their mind every so often about how special it is that they've decided to kind of embark on this journey of being a wrestler, because it is definitely uncommon, especially today, for kids that want to buckle down and put in all that hard work and effort with no real assurance of success. So the talk is more about like all the core characteristics they're learning, to hopefully carry them through life. Basically, a lot of the stuff that I used to take from Coach Reed. I mean, that was like a weekly talk, and it served me well as I sit here, 44 years old, talking to you and coaching Triton. But man, I'll tell you what, it is special, and I try and remind the kids that they are special in that room, because there's not many kids in the school that want to do what they're doing.
You got to add to that too. I mean, it's your achievement too. I mean, it's a team sport. You want to win as a team, but I mean, basically, you walk out there, it's you, the light, and that other person. and
Yeah,
you got nobody to blame or nobody to pat on the back other than yourself. And it's got to be a lot of reward from meeting that challenge.
sure. Yeah, because it's a sport of tiny gains, and most kids today they want the big gains right away.
Yeah,
They don't want that little bit by bit, day by day thing, and that's probably one of the biggest rewards, I guess, for me as a coach is when I see a kid commit long term to a goal and they understand the process of those little gains, and then when they have that success on the tail end, I mean that's like winning the Super Bowl. I mean
yeah,
they didn't win a state championship, but man, like they accomplished what they were setting out to do, and what they understood was that the little by little gains is exactly what they're gonna use to be successful in their lives. So just such a big deal to kind of understand that side of the sport. And those that embrace it and take that away are the ones that are almost always successful later on.
I was going to say, it's the little gains, but I mean, you take that away with you. You got that you can. I marvel at the dedication it takes to be good at what they do, and and as well as a lot better than I do, what that takes, the sacrifice it takes. And my dad used to talk about, even with football, it takes a special kid wants to come out in August when it's hot and everybody's just doing conditioning, and you're throwing up in your helmet, your buddies are driving around the lake in their convertible with their girlfriends. I mean, it's a different kind of thing. And
Yeah,
it's gotta, that's why you get into coaching, is to see those guys that you see put that effort in have that success.
yeah, and you're right, and you've been a coach yourself, so you understand that like when you put in time and effort into a kid because you know that they love it and they desire the sport just kind of like how we did when we were young, and then you kind of see those efforts kind of come to fruition. Is it's a special feeling. Um, and it's all I'm lucky because I get to do it coaching, but I also get to do it as a teacher.
Yeah.
And not every kid that comes through my classroom is dying to be an engineer or a robotics person, but when they're doing it, they're having a good time. But those few that are really interested in it, and it's just a good feeling, whether it be wrestling or teaching, like when you can kind of just embrace the joy of either the sport or the class, and watch them grow and just get better. It's awesome,
Yeah.
and anybody who's ever coached a kid knows that.
I agree with you completely. That's the reason you start, to see those guys that put in the effort have some success, and it just makes you feel like, I don't know, it makes you feel like you're a part of it with them. I guess I don't know. Um,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
let's talk about your guys a little bit. I mean, I'm sure you got some guys you got some high hopes for this year.
yeah. We got a nice group of kids. It's probably about our average size. We're around 17 on the roster. When it was all said and done, got through those first couple of tough weeks where we had a couple trying out that kind of fell off, but uh, yeah, we got a nice kind of spread out group as far as classes go. We got a handful of freshmen, sophomore, juniors, seniors, so that's always a good thing. We're not heavy anywhere, but I got I don't know, probably two or three right now that are you kind of in the back of your mind you're thinking, okay, these are the guys that are probably going to be the ones that kind of ride the wave the longest when we hit sectional. But my seniors, like Colton Reynolds for one, he's like our 175. He's kind of the model kid that you want to coach. Good grades, great kid, always thinking about his teammates, that kind of kid, but desires to compete, and wants to scrap and get after it every chance he gets. And it's just obvious when you watch him wrestle. So we love that, obviously. He's been battling through injuries his entire wrestling career, so we're just hoping for a scratch-free year for him. But I'm expecting a good year right now. I think he's only lost one time. We have another guy. He's a junior, just moved in. He actually moved in from the Penn District and was not a and what I like about Gage is that he's more and more as he's gotten to know us. I feel like he's become more coachable. He's definitely opening his ears and his mind up and allowing us to just kind of add to what he already has. And we're seeing good success from him. Younger side of the kids, sophomore, David Rao. He's definitely got a lot of great things, a lot of good tools that he brings to the mat. Does a lot of real nice finesse kind of type moves. But at the same time, being a sophomore, he's learning the hard way sometimes with some mistakes here and there that's costing him some matches. But it's like one of those kids where you see him and you're like, man, there's so much potential there.
Yeah.
That we can work with that,
Yeah.
And I could probably say that for almost about half a dozen other ones that are in there and they're working hard, and they're a bunch of no-namers that nobody would know anything about. But if you saw them in the practice room, you'd be like, okay, that kid's got a shot here in the next year or two. So, but yeah, it's a good group. They listen well. I get a lot of good effort from most of them, and definitely a season where I look forward to getting into practice every day.
Reynolds, he played football too, didn't he?
Yeah, he was all right.
I was going to
think
say.
he ended up. I think he ended up being a first team All State as a linebacker. So yeah, he did it all right. He had a good season. I think it was like something crazy, like 130 some tackles, maybe. I don't know what it was.
That's not bad.
He's just like one of those kids. Like he wants the crunch. He wants the, like I said, he wants the scrap in wrestling, where he wants that physical kind of just, let's get after it, man. I don't want to dance around you. Like, I want to butt heads with you, and let's see who can knock each other out. And, that's just the mindset of him, and it's just fun to watch, man.
I just know Andy had a lot of very similar things to say about him during football season, and how much you guys leaned on him during that time. So, it's one of those things at school like yours, you need those athletes to come out for your sport, and they usually do well no matter what they do.
Yep. I mean, he is he's that kid right now. You know what I mean? Like, he's one that we're gonna miss after this year for sure. And I've been lucky through the years. It seems like every 1 or 2, maybe 3 years, I get one of those. I get one of those kids like Colton is now, where they just want to work hard. They like it. They don't like to shy away from anything. They like to learn and listen and compete, and most importantly, they just get a lot of joy out of it.
Yeah.
They don't see it as a hard job type thing that a lot of kids might.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time, and as always, good luck to you the rest of the season. I'll try to catch up with you again. We'll see if we can get together a little easier than we had this time. Maybe in less than 3 weeks, but we'll be in touch, man.
All right, thanks, Rusty.
It's Matt Arbison, the head wrestling coach at Triton, and we'll be right back. Greg Miller, head coach of the Plymouth Pilgrims, joins us in this segment, and actually, that's a pretty good win for you guys the other night.
Yeah, Wabash is a team very similar to us. They're young. They don't have a ton of varsity experience, and they're getting better as the year's going on. They just beat Mechanic-Wall, so that's a good win for them. And it's a tough game to play, Wednesday of finals week. Guys are taking finals all day, and so we came out a little sluggish, but we were able to get it going, and we held a lead for 3 whole quarters. So, yeah, some good stuff to build on.
Also, it seemed like some guys are starting to find a few things offensively for you.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb Ellery had his best game of the year. He had 15 points for us, 6 of 8 from the field. And, the efficiency that he did it at, I know he was frustrated after the game because he missed 2 free throws there. But no, I mean, it was good to see him as a sophomore starting to kind of find that role and able to get us some points in a game where we needed it.
How do you feel about your offense? I mean, I know that was the thing that you were you came into the year that was going to be a little bit of a struggle early. Have you gotten better, do you think?
Yeah, we have. I mean, we're we're taking care of the basketball. Obviously, the St. Joe game is a standalone game with what they do and how they play. But if you remove that game, we're averaging just over 10 turnovers a game, which is down from last year, which is always good. Would still like to see us shoot it better. I feel that we're getting good shots most of the time. We're getting shots that we want to live with, and so we just need to see a couple of them hit the bottom of the net a little bit more.
Defensively, how do you feel about where you're at? I don't know. You've always kind of liked your defense. You still feel real good
Yeah.
about it?
Yeah, I mean, the Wabash game held them to 26 points. It's by far the fewest they've scored this year, so that was a good performance. And once again, the St. Joe game is just, that's a different game. They're a
Yeah.
college basketball team
Yeah.
essentially. So, we take that one out of the mix. Yeah, I mean, we've been tested. LaPorte is a really good basketball team. Bremen, they shoot it so well. I mean, St. Joe is one of the best teams in the northern state of Indiana. So our defense has been tested, and to come out and play a team like Wabash and hold them 26, yeah, it makes you feel better. And, I know this is going to air on Saturday, and so we'll have already played Northwood, but Northwood is an elite offensive team. So, that's going to be a really good test for us as well.
It's got to feel good to get in that win column again, too, because, as young
Yeah.
as you are, every win builds something for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Wins are going to be, sometimes difficult to come by with a couple of the teams on our schedule. And so, this one was a 50-50 game. And, John Harrell's prediction had it as a 3-point game. And so for us to come out and to win that game by 14 was really good for our young guys. So, yeah, I mean, we got a tough stretch coming up in the schedule. So it's good to get that win under our belt and build a little confidence and, let them see the success and the stuff that we're working on.
Tough stretch coming up in your schedule. I would say your whole schedule is a tough stretch. You haven't had an easy beginning of this year.
No, I wasn't going to say it that way either. But yeah, our whole schedule is pretty good.
Give yourself a grade here. We've gotten to maybe the first third or so. First quarter of the season is past. We're about to go into that Christmas turn of the season. I mean, where are you at? Do you think? What kind of a grade would you give yourself?
I mean, I'm a pretty tough grader, so we'll give ourselves a C. And, you know what? The two games that we went in and felt like we should definitely win these games, we went out and won them pretty convincingly. And then, would like to have seen us perform a little bit better in the second half against Bremen and LaPorte. Both games were single possession games going into halftime. And then, they came out and basically both teams outshot us in the second half. So that's a little frustrating right there. And, but, we're proving that we can play with good teams for a half. And now we need to be able to play with good teams for 3 quarters. And then we need to play with them for full games. So, yeah, we're continuing to get better. I think that, everybody can see that right now. And, hopefully that continues.
Talk about your younger guys a little bit too, because I know there's a couple of guys that you were just going to have to kind of throw to the wolves out there, some sophomores and freshmen, people like that. How have they developed in your mind?
Yeah, I mean, they're developing really well right now. Grayson Cherone has given us some really good minutes as a sophomore, and Aiden Macias is starting to come on and play more for us off the bench as well. Christian Cruz-Mahler, he's going to start doing the same, and Grady Scott's got a couple minutes for us as a freshman, and the JV team's playing really well. I mean, they were up like 46 their last game. And so those young guys are really competing at a high level. And, once again, as the year goes on, I think you'll just start to see them play a little bit more.
It's kind of tough. I know sitting in your chair, it's kind of tough because you want to give them bites they can chew because as well as I do, that confidence level means a lot. Being able to be that guy for a while, it means a lot. And some of these guys are just going to have to take some lumps a bit. I mean, do you worry about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, you definitely do. And that's why, we've wanted to keep that group together as long as we have there on the JV so they can, those guys have won and we want them to continue winning and learn how to win and understand like this is what it takes to win. And to their credit, they've been doing that really well. And once again, we haven't played Northwood yet. But that's going to be it. Once again, Northwood has a really good JV team. So I'm excited for that matchup.
I think that's a hard sell a lot of times, especially, to parents especially, but sometimes to the kids, you don't get better sitting and watching other people play. but you
Yep.
also you don't get better having your brains beating every night either. So it's a tight rope that coaches have to walk to keep that confidence, but still put a competitive team on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, and we want to use as many quarters as we can for the guys. At the end of the year, we don't want to look back on our young guys have 17 quarters that they didn't play that they could have played. And we want to make sure that they're getting those opportunities, regardless of what level that is.
You got an interesting holiday tournament coming up too. I don't know that I've seen a school that does it that way. You're gonna have the boys and the girls tournaments at the same
Hmm.
time at the school. How do you feel about that? That seems like that'd be a kind of a neat little weekend thing.
Yeah, last year was the first year I'd been a part of it, and it's a ton of fun. Being able to have the guys there, JV and varsity, and supporting the girls teams and the JV teams, and it's just basketball all day, and that's what I love, and so I love being able to. I get there in the morning, we do a walkthrough, and then I'm there the rest of the day watching basketball. So
Yeah.
it's a great day for me as well. So yeah, it's a really cool opportunity for the teams to support each other and be there all day, and the community to come out and support the different levels. And it's a great event.
Look ahead a little bit too. I mean, we mentioned it earlier. The schedule doesn't get easy. I mean, just having to play the NLC schedule is bad enough. What do you really want to see as you go forward? What things do you really want to get better at?
You know what? I mean, the one we talked about is, we've been able to compete with really good teams for a half right now. And we've got to see that grow. We've got to see that get better. And we talk about contain and sustain, and contain their runs, sustain your runs. And so moving that to competing with, some of the really good teams in the NLC for 3 quarters and then make it an entire game, and see that growth as the year comes down and we get ready for sectional. And our sectional's not easy either. So yeah, I just want to, obviously both sides of the ball, but I want to see that mental and emotional maturity. I want to continue to see growth there, because that's what we're going to need to compete against these really good teams.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time as always, and good luck to you tonight at Northwood. I know that's a handful every year, especially over there. And then we'll see you again in the tournament. We'll be there for that.
Yep, sounds good. Thank you, Rusty.
That is Greg Miller, head coach at Plymouth. Josh Troyer joins me, the AD at Plymouth High School. I wanted to get you on now. Tell me if I'm right or wrong. I wanted to talk about the holiday tournament coming up because I haven't seen this before. I'm hoping you didn't do this last year this way, and I just have forgotten that soon. But I mean, it's boys and girls together. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Well, I won't break your heart. We did do it last year for the first time, but looking forward to doing it again. Every year we've kind of alternated who goes first each day. And it's been good because our girls had lost out on a holiday tournament going into last year, so we just kind of decided to make it one big event. My hope is long term to get 3 teams that come that are both boys and girls, so all teams are the same. But we have not gotten to that yet through going into year 2 here.
Before we go much further, talk about that a little bit because that's something. If you don't have kids involved, I don't think people understand it. There are a lot of schools that are having trouble, especially with JV teams, fielding having enough players to play a full JV schedule or whatnot, and that's becoming. I don't know. I would say that's got to be a concern of people.
Yeah, it definitely makes it challenging on our end. I mean, I know last year, like we were struggling to find even opponents, right? Or you
Yeah.
get the games where for them, a half a game is good for them because they have enough to play, 2 quarters. But for us, it almost hurts us in the same sense because
Right.
we have enough to play 4 quarters and now we can't. And those 2 quarters counts as a game. So we can't go pick up another game to fill that part of the schedule either, which is kind of unfortunate for our kids. But at the same point, you'd hope some team would do that for you if you ever got in that boat too. So it's definitely finding a balance. And I know like LaVille is going to help fill our JV girls with our tournament again. So we appreciate them. Washington Township's coming over just as a girls varsity team. So we were able to kind of use LaVille each of the last 2 years as an extra JV team to fill in again because they lose games throughout the year too on their schedule, and it works out on our end as well and fills a need we have.
Yeah, I was going to say, sometimes it's a hard sell to maybe parents and kids themselves, but that JV team and the freshman team, those are key parts of a program that, those things start going away, it starts deteriorating everything.
Yeah, you're just trying, again, building that depth, building the role players, right? Like the hard thing is, right, you get to the varsity level, you need people that are just going to embrace that role, right? They're going to come in there, either be a tough rebounder or a really good passer, a good screen setter, all those things that, when you start losing these, levels, it's hard to practice those things, right? And get good at it. And at the same point too, we also use JV and freshman / C team, right, to build maybe an attribute that you can't use at the varsity level, right? Like, I think back to the years, even when I was coaching, right, we have some that at the varsity level might play more of a, set good screens, rebound, those kind of things. But eventually we want them to be able to be a scorer.
Right.
So they may play a quarter or two JV so they can be called upon in a different way, right, than what they're asked to do at the varsity level or maybe even the JV level. So it's definitely nice to have all three of those. And we're very thankful. Like, this is our first year since I've been at Plymouth that we've had a girls C team. We had to kind of be selective of how many games we could have to make sure we had quarters and games and stuff for them as well. But definitely the most we've been able to field and be able to at least field 5 or 6 C team games, which was a huge step in the right direction in my opinion for our program too.
And that's the thing. I know I've said it 1,000 times probably on this show alone, but nobody gets better watching somebody else play. I mean, you've got to get that floor time, and JV coaches, freshman coaches, the coaches down the line, that's what their varsity coach is telling them. I don't care wins and losses. Get those guys out there and get them playing. And, it's just so important.
Yeah, right. And some of them see that, again, playing time increases, right? The more you put into the ability and put into practice and those kind of things as well, right? And getting kids to be able to have experience at that level that they're capable of for now, right? To have those experiences and have positive experiences, right, in games too. I think is a big piece to build upon and not put a kid out there maybe in a level that they're not ready for yet either. And it's hard these days, right? Getting kids to buy in, right? There's some places, as a freshman, you're starting on varsity,
right? Yeah.
Sheer numbers, right? Or sheer, lack of numbers for some schools, so helping our kids understand too that, there is a big, bonus to being able to play that freshman and JV level and have some success, because eventually, right, you're building to that. And whether you play 1 year of varsity, 4 years of varsity, there's still a chance if you want to play college level, right, that you can do those things if the skill level's there, right? All those things. Coaches are looking for players in almost every sport. So that's not going to prevent, but it's got to get kids to buy in and want to be competitive at each of those levels and help them continue to grow and help our programs grow and have success over time too.
Yeah, it's really rare when you find a freshman who's capable of making that jump from 8th grade to varsity, whatever the sport is. I lived with a coach for 100 years who said, if you got a freshman playing in your varsity, that only means your varsity probably isn't very good. So those guys need to get bites they can chew. And, over the years, it's just been a struggle of numbers at the smaller schools. We've been fortunate, but like you say, that plays into us too.
Yeah, that's hard, right? Like just the sheer maturity level growth in a 4-year span, right? You're talking a 14-year-old, 13, 14-year-old playing against an 18, 19-year-old.
Yeah.
That's a big gap, especially in that age range, right? Like there's just so much that goes on in 4 years of high school that a kid grows and matures and all of those things. And it's hard, especially it depends on the sport, right? It depends on a lot of factors, but it's definitely not easy to jump straight in from, being 13, 14 and go up against a 19-year-old and have success.
Yeah.
At least at any substantial value.
I've talked to Greg a couple of times this year. He says, we got 2 kids that they can't even drive yet, and we're asking them to go against guys that are going to college next year. That's kind of a big jump. So, and that is.
Yeah, it's no knock to them, right? Like they're going to be good players. But it's very hard of an ask to go up there as a freshman and compete against kids again. Yeah, going to college next year that are ready to almost be out on their own and experience the real world, right? And you got kids that maybe don't even clean their room or do their own laundry. So That's definitely a big gap in maturity
Uh,
level for sure.
I got some 30-year-olds living with me that don't do that. So we'll move on from that. How do we get off on this anyway? We wanted to talk about this holiday basketball tournament because, like I said, this is a unique setup. You're going to have boys and girls are going to share the gyms. JV obviously will probably use the two auxiliaries, but on the main floor, you're going to be able to see a lot of really good basketball from a lot of good teams.
Yeah, it's something I took pride in, especially after we kind of got in year one and going into year two of my tenure. Like, I'm a big believer in the quality of our programs, right? All those things, especially between our genders, and wanted something, especially when our girls were losing their tournament. I'm like, why don't we just host both? To have both of our teams then not have to travel, us to be able to control the schedule. It made sense to have a 2 day as far as like number of quarters and stuff, players could get each day. And I'd come from Wabash County, who had a Wabash County tournament. All 4 teams played every year. And the first day they had switched to where every game was in the main gym. So we kind of followed that format. Day one starts at, I think 9 a.m. and goes throughout the entire day and alternates boys and girls the entire day. So 4 JV games alternating to start, then the 4 varsity games in the evening, which one thing I like too, if parents are still having to work on this, on January 2nd for whatever reason, most of our varsity games are in the evening. Unfortunately for JV, somebody's got to play early.
Right.
But it keeps all of our varsity games in the evening. Same thing with day 2. We do our, JV consolations and championships in the morning, and then varsity consolation championships in the evening. Also included in there is we did a 3-point shootout last year for the first time. That was kind of fun. Seemed like kids really enjoyed it, so we're gonna do that again this year. And 2 participants from each school get to do that per gender. And then we'll crown an overall champion as well, pitting our girls champion versus our boys champion as well, in between the consolations and championship games.
I'm just going to tell you, as from the coaching side of it, I can't believe that this isn't absolutely everything you would want because you're at home. I mean, that holiday tournaments are great because they have that, big tournament excitement to them, and you get all the usually different teams that you wouldn't face during the regular year. But having to get on that bus, like you said, for the JV game at 9, the varsity's going to go with them. So you're all up at 7:30. You're driving wherever you're going. Being at home has got to be a huge thing for your coaches.
Oh, 100%. Our kids, right? Like, come in for your first game, you leave for a while, then we're going to play a game later in the day. So there's definitely a good break in there for both our girls and our boys teams. And again, just the opportunity to play 2 more times on your home floor. Usually a schedule might be 11 home games each way. This really buys us an extra one because we do 10 and 10, and then we get 2 guaranteed home games every year with our tournament. So, every year our boys and girls team are getting, typically 12 home games to experience at home rather than having to travel somewhere on the road.
Yeah, I would just think that for your coaches, logistic wise, it's just really good. Now for you guys, it's a lot of extra work because you got all kinds of things going on in there. You got games everywhere. You got to have officials. You got to have the whole 9 yards. That's got to be interesting to try to coordinate all that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the life of having assigners helps a little bit with the officials compared to what it used to be. But we're also hosting girls wrestling sectional that same day, the first day at the junior high as well. So we'll have a state level event, and then we'll have our holiday tournament all going on January 2nd. So excited to do all that. Thankful for Brent and Gwen to be able to run the holiday tournament while I'm over at the junior high running our sectional. But it's going to be a good day to be in Plymouth, and hopefully a lot of people will come out and support our kids in both events.
I was going to say, you got to lean on your staff. I had my dad sat in your chair for years, and he always used to say, if it wasn't for, his staff, nothing would ever happen. And I know you rely on those guys. They do a great job for you.
Phenomenal. And I was able to sneak away for our national conference and, not worry that anything wasn't going to be ready or any of those kind of things. Bring Gwen do an amazing job and keep everything flowing when I'm away from the office.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time and getting us up to date. Give me the exact. So we've got both days. It starts on the 2nd, correct?
Yep, January 2nd, Friday. We got 9 a.m. first game being JV. JV girls and boys. Our JV will play at 11:45 for girls and 1 o'clock for boys. And then our varsity games that first night will be at 6 and 7:45. But again, first game's at 9 a.m. and it'll go through until that 7:45 game ends at 10 o'clock on Friday night. Then day 2, Saturday, 9 o'clock will be both boys JV consolation championship in both gyms,
followed by 10:30 girls JV Constellation and Championship, and then we'll start the varsity ones in the main gym at noon. It goes from noon all the way until varsity girls championships at 6, varsity boys championships at 4:15.
And if you're not going to be able to be there, you can tune in and hear at least the Plymouth games here on Max 98.3. We're going to be there. So thank you for letting us do that. And, man, I'm looking forward to it. I'm sure you are too.
Yeah, it's going to be a great couple of days. And again, really look forward to being able to always see our teams competing at home and get to provide them another opportunity to have some success.
Well, man, thanks for taking the time. I know you want to get back to family, so I'll let you do that. And we'll see you coming up here in about a week or so.
Sounds great. Appreciate all the coverage.
Josh Troyer, athletic director at Plymouth, and we'll be right back. As always, man, thanks so much. Matt Miller, head coach at Bremen, joins me. I'm just going to ask it. Before the year started, you had to have known at least a little bit. Did you think you'd be unbeaten at this point, especially given some of the people you had to play?
No way. There's no way I can say that with a straight face. We thought we'd be sitting here today. And I thought there was some possibilities there. We saw some things over the summer, and but we had new opponents on the schedule, and there was a lot of unknowns about who would be playing what role and how it was going to look and how they'd respond. And so, no, I really didn't, for sure. So it's been a blessing to get out to this kind of start, for sure.
Now, I know last year you had a lot of guys with a lot of experience. It was just one of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
But, I just remember how many times, my partner Peyton talked about how much he really liked your younger guys and how good you were going to be for years to come. I mean, he saw a little bit of it. I'm sure you guys did too. He really liked Riley Teener the first time he saw him.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, he's been great. And been watching those guys for a long time. So, my son's a junior, so I've kind of grown up watching these guys, play from very young ages. And the guys are our junior class now. And they've been, they've played a lot of basketball. They put a lot of basketball together. So, see them come back together with that opportunity this year. Chase has kind of took a jump beyond them a little bit his freshman year. So now they're back together again and with some really nice senior guys. It's a good mix of guys for sure. So it's, and like you mentioned Riley in particular. I mean, he's been a really skilled player for a really long time. We kind of just been waiting for him to kind of burst out, and I think it's starting to happen a little bit here at a time. And he's got a really, really high ceiling. So we can get even more out of him going down through the course of the season here.
It looks to me, obviously I've seen you play so many times, but it looks to me like your guys are figuring out where their shots are. And I know that sounds weird, but I mean, Chase is going to have the ball. He's that kind of a player.
Yes.
But they're figuring out where their shots are going to come in, and it seems like that's starting to mesh.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And that is kind of the feeling out process. And where do those shots come from? We want to get block off a certain amount of what we do offensively for Chase. And so to where the guys feel comfortable getting him open and getting him into spots and doing what we need to do to get him his looks. And then also, kind of using all the counter actions and finding spots in our motion and then transition. And when we get stops and, where they can get their own looks and where they're comfortable. So you're exactly right. We're trying to find the right mix and also the right spots where they're comfortable scoring. And I think we're starting to get a good feel for okay, this guy's a great spot shooter. Let's give him more spot ups. And this guy's better going to the basket. And so we're starting to put that together. And hopefully that mix and that recipe can kind of keep working out for us and we keep figuring out more and more as we go.
And I think that's probably an easy sell because Chase is such an unselfish player. I mean, sometimes I imagine that you probably have to say, look, you can go ahead and take that shot. You had it. Go ahead and do it. But he's always looking for somebody else.
Yeah, his decision making is top of the charts. It really is. It's like I always say, it's a superpower for sure. And yeah, there's times he's especially as young as he is. It's pretty uncanny. So he gets so much attention. So when he's making the right calls as far as where the ball should go, guys just get ridiculously good looks. So we're thankful to have him in that. We're thankful to have his ability for sure, but his brain, his basketball IQ, we're really, really thankful for.
And all your guys too. I mean, it's a Bremen thing. We don't care who gets the glory. We don't care who gets the headline. Let's just win the
Sure.
game. That's always been a Bremen thing. Let's just win.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, it's something that we talk about a lot. And we want to make sure that we stay in that vein. You're right. It is like a traditional thing here. Let's just figure out ways to win, and whatever that might look like. So always not the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, but if we can figure out ways to win, we'll take it. Chase gets a lot of individual accolades, and he just got his 1,000th point last week, and he's going to chase the school scoring record. And we talked about that, early on, like, would that be good for us as a team if he gets that? And, the answer, of course, to that is yes. Our guys agree with that. And if we help him get there and it's helping us win, then we can all kind of share in that accomplishment. Yeah. So we kind of see what he's getting done as something that we're all playing a role in, which is cool. So I think hopefully we keep in that mindset and keep those goals in front of us, that we can do them together.
We've spent some time talking about scoring and all that, but I mean, I'm looking at your defensive numbers. You got to be really happy with where you're at there too. I mean, that's pretty locked down at 34 points a game.
For sure, I'm really happy with that. I thought early on, the one thing I felt semi-confident about was that I thought we could be pretty good on defense this year. I like a lot of our individual defenders, and we're getting the team defensive concepts slowly. I mean, there's still some things that we can clean up on that, how we defend as a unit, but we have good individual defenders, and we have been really happy with that. So the other night, we played Central Noble, and we had a big letdown in the first period. We didn't play to our defensive standard, but then over the next three, we only gave up 25 points total. Kind of the guys really refocused and got back to what our standards were defensively. So that was huge, and I think it's going to have to be the way we play all year. I mean, those games, there's going to be times when we're not hitting buckets. There's going to be nights when Chase is off. It is possible for him to have an off night here and there. So we're going to have to answer the bell with defense and create offense with defense, and that's the way that we're going to have a chance to accomplish some of our biggest goals. Win tournaments and win this conference and some things like that. So we're hanging our hat on the defense right now for sure.
When you're unbeaten, there's not a lot, negative talk around, but I mean, you're a coach. I've been around coaches my whole life. Yeah. There are still things that are on your checklist that you're putting on the practice plan every night. I mean, what are the things you're looking at that you really feel like you got to get better at?
Yeah. It's funny you say the practice plan. I mean, came home last night. I was talking we need to practice more effectively more often. I mean, that's something that's obviously completely out of the public eye. So we have good stretches at practice, but I want us to practice like a championship level team, to where we're not taking segments off and we're not taking things lightly and we're pushing each other to get better. So I think there's definitely some steps to be taken there. And then like I said, our team defensive concepts, just the way we kind of do some things off the ball can get better for sure. And then I really still pushing for a little bit more fluid ball movement on the offensive end. I think our offense can still flow a little better than it is right now. Those are the things that we're pursuing for sure. Like our output has been fine, like you said, the output and the numbers we're happy with. But I think we can get more efficient with our ball movement. We're turning it over a little bit more than we should. I mean, we're trying to keep that thing under 10 every night, and we haven't met that goal or that standard most nights. So I think there's more juice to squeeze out of the offense for sure, by doing some things, but a little bit more. But like I said, better ball movement. We're more conscientious about getting each other open with our screening and some things like that. So that's our focus.
I'm going to say sometimes it's hard to get through to your players that, what we're doing in practice is extremely important. So please come focused. I know most of the really great programs I've ever been around and the great coaches, games were easy. Practices were a war. Yeah. So, getting that through is tough.
It is. And, especially, and it's such a long season. It's not yet. We're still in the early stages, but when you get later in the season, it's like these guys are like, practice again, man. Are you serious? Especially when we get to some of these. So we get to the weeks where you only play one time, like on Friday night. You come in there on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and you can look at it like, oh my goodness. So we are trying to, we try really hard to keep practice fresh. We try to keep it meaningful. It's where we don't, it's where it's all with a purpose, but it is a slog. I mean, it's tough. They're teenage kids. I try to pretend like, I'm sure I love practice every day when I played, which I know is total crap. It's like I'm trying to keep that in mind that they're kids, and coaches always like practice more than players by a long shot. So we're trying on it, Rusty. We're trying to make them practice. So we'll see, man. I don't know.
I tell you, we felt lucky if we got Christmas Day off at this point in the year. It was like, wow, we got Christmas.
You're exactly right. We always practice. I told these guys this week. Now that we have Plymouth back on the schedule for Thanksgiving weekend, we always practice Thanksgiving morning. These guys look at me like I have two heads. I'm telling them, how could you ever do such a thing? What a travesty. So, yeah.
We used to have conditioning practices on Thanksgiving morning. So yeah, it was.
Absolutely. Over Christmas break, forget about it. Absolutely, yeah, no doubt. Can't lose that conditioning. Yeah.
Well, man, looking ahead, you got a grind coming up too. I mean, the conference schedule starts. You got a lot of teams on there that are going to be tough. I mean, I'm thinking that you feel pretty good about where you're headed.
Yeah, I do. You're right. It's gonna get really tough as we head in. It's like you said, conference. We started conference play. We got another one coming up here soon after the break with Valley, and then we got good opponents on the schedule. Caston the Friday night is very, very good. Rochester solid. I'm just looking through here now. Valley coming up, and then we're gonna hit Bi County, and then late January and February is really tough, which is awesome though. Those are the kind of games we want to play in, and the kind of games we want to see if we can win as we hit tournament time and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, that's why I'm feeling thankful and blessed that we got off the start we did on in the win-loss column, because there's just a lot of tough nights ahead, and but nothing that we're not looking forward to. Those are the kind of challenges that we want, and those are the kind of games we want to play in. So it's cool. Yeah, I like the way the schedule is built. It's like it's a real Bremen schedule again, and we're excited about it.
Well, man, thanks for taking the time, and we'll catch up with you a little bit down the road. I'm sure we'll see you by Bi County time.
For sure. I always appreciate the coverage, Rusty. Thank you.
This is Matt Miller, the head coach at Bremen, and stay right there. And Chase Devine joins us in this segment of the Saturday Coaches Show. Our Tony the Boss Ross Player of the Week, man. Congratulations on that, and congratulations on a really good career so far.
Yeah, thank you. It's been really cool. Great start so far.
Talk about that a little bit. I mean, you kind of, I don't want to say been under the microscope, but I mean, you've been one of those guys everybody looks at ever since you came on the scene as a freshman. I mean, you're only a junior. You ever feel any pressure from that, or do you just, I'll let you answer that because I'm going to tell you what I think when you're done, but go ahead.
No, I don't feel a lot of pressure because I have so much support in the Bremen community, and my family's always there for me. Just trusting God through the process, and no pressure, I don't feel.
And man, I knew you were going to say that because I watch you play the times I've seen you play, and you look like you're just having a great time. I mean, I get the feeling, your body language and the way you play is like, man, I couldn't wish for a better place to be than where I am right now. And that's kind of the feeling you get when you play.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing the game you love. You grow up playing it, so you're just having fun out there. It's great.
Talk about it a little bit. I mean, when did you start playing?
I've been playing since I was really little because I have 3 older brothers, just watching them grow up and playing with them. So I've always been getting bullied by them and growing up with them.
I was going to say, you had 3 older brothers. I bet there was no competition in that house at all.
Yeah, not much.
So have you gotten to the point where I got with my younger brother where he beats me all the time, so I got to start fouling him and not calling it just to win the one-on-one game? Has it gotten to that point with you guys?
Oh, yeah, it's gotten to that point these past couple of years. They don't like it at all.
What was it about basketball that you liked them all? What was it that drew you to play it?
I think because that's always been my whole family's favorite sport. Even my dad grew up playing. He was pretty good back in the day. So just always being around it's always made me want to play it even more.
And when did you start? I mean, I imagine pretty young.
Yeah, I would say like 4 years old probably. I've been playing.
As soon as you could pick up a ball.
Yeah, as soon as I could.
Um, Talk about the progression. I mean, when did you finally maybe hit you a little bit that you thought, hey, I'm not bad at this?
Probably around seventh, eighth grades when I figured out that I was all right at it. Just because I was starting to compete with my brothers a little more and figuring out that I be more physical and if I want to play with them and stuff.
Let's talk about your game a little bit because I having seen you play the times I've seen you play, it looks to me like, I mean, you get your shots and you get your points. I mean, you scored more points last week than I scored in my entire career, so I'll put that out there. But um, it looks like your first intent, whenever you got the ball in your hands, is to find somebody else to get a shot for. Am I right?
Yeah, because you grow up with all these guys and you want to see them succeed more than you want yourself to succeed, really. So it's just the brotherhood we build at Bremen growing up together.
I mean, the other thing that I mentioned to your coach a couple of weeks ago, I've seen a lot of guys that can get to the rim. They get, they got first step and they can get there. But, you're the only guy I've seen, or one of the few I've seen, who has an exit strategy if things don't go the way you want it to go. I mean, when you go in there, it looks like, okay, if they cut me off, I know where my outlets are. I know where my guys are. I know who I can get a shot for. Am I right? Is that what actually goes through your head when you're going in there?
Yeah, it's come along with just growing up with them. I mean, you know where they're going to be on the court, so that helps because you've played with them for. I've probably played with them for 7 and 8 years growing up recently. So just knowing where they're at and having chemistry with them.
You're finally getting some of your guys catching up to you that you actually did play with in the lower years. I mean, but when you came up early, you were playing with some older guys. I mean, what was that like? Because it seems like you fit in with those guys seamlessly.
Yeah, so seventh and eighth grade years, Matt was actually letting me practice with them. So I've been able to play with them before I even got to high school, which has been nice. That also helped with the chemistry building part too.
I gotta feel that helped your game too.
Yeah, for sure. Getting used to the length of the high school level and the physicality of it definitely helped.
And I'm thinking and I was talking to your coach earlier today, even along the lines of what practice looks like at that next level is a totally different thing.
Yeah, exactly. It's nothing like the middle school practices you push yourself way harder up there.
Talk about your guys a little bit. I mean, you seem really happy with them. I mean, you guys got good chemistry. I mean, just talk about some of your guys.
Yeah, growing up, so Bryce Miller, coach's kid, he hurt his knee in seventh grade. So then he couldn't play at all eighth grade year, and then freshman year it's still bothering him. So having him back has been really good. He's physically gotten a lot stronger. He's grown a lot. So you trust him more with it. And then Riley has grown a lot, and he's become a very reliable shooter and scorer, inside presence. Maddox Hickman, he's grown into a very good role player. He doesn't try and play outside of himself at all, and it's really good for our team.
I was thinking along the lines of Bryce. I know that his dad told me a couple of weeks ago he was hoping he would start to take a bigger role, and it looks like the last few games, or at least the last few times I've seen you guys play, he's really come a long way. I mean, he's kind of an emotional leader out there, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure. He's getting his confidence back definitely, and it just fires the team up seeing that he's back to full strength, and it's great.
Talk about yourself a little bit. I mean, one thing that my partner on the broadcast said the first time we saw you guys play this year was, it looks like Chase spent some time in the weight room in the off season. I mean, you have bulked up a bit. I mean, you feel like that's helping your game.
Yeah, definitely. Because I mean, the amount of the attention you get, like you get the face guards and stuff. So being able to go through the arms, the hand checks, and all that, and then being able to finish in the paint stronger, it's definitely helped for sure.
Talk about that a little bit. I mean, you've probably been number one on the scouting report for a while. What's it like going in every week knowing that you're the guy that everybody's going to try to shut off?
Yeah, you go into it, you just got to be confident in your teammates, knowing that they're going to get the other team out of what they're trying to do because they're going to hit shots if you find them. So you just got to trust everyone else.
You prefer playing offense or defense?
I like them both.
I thought I'd ask that because, and once again, it's because watching you play, it looks like, any given night, if that's what you're supposed to do, you got no problem with taking that defensive lead.
Yeah, for sure. Whatever helps the team win, that's all I'm there for, really. Defensively, the strength has definitely helped defensively, too.
I got to feel like, that's kind of the mantra for your team. Once again, I talked earlier with your coach today. It was just, that's kind of a Bremen thing. I got to feel like you guys were brought up with that. It's like, I don't care who's got the headlines or who's getting the attention. Let's just win.
Yep, for sure. All we care about is winning down here. We haven't won a sectional in a while, so we're really pushing for that.
How does it feel to be unbeaten?
It feels good. We got a big one tonight that hopefully we can stay like that. So we'll see.
Let's talk about you a little bit. You mentioned your brothers and your dad, your mom and dad. Talk about them a little bit. What are their names and how old are they? And are they still living at home? I mean, what's it like at the house?
So only one of my brothers is living at home. He's 20 and he's still living around in Bremen. And then I have a 22-year-old brother and then a 27-year-old brother. They both moved out here. 22-year-old brother moved out this year. His name's Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
He played varsity as a freshman too, I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
Yeah, Bryce, my oldest brother, 27 years old. He's probably, I won't say this to a lot of people, but he's a better spot up shooter than me. And we go into the gym because he's one of the coaches, and he still beats me sometimes in a shooting contest every now and then. But he couldn't play in high school because he broke his leg in middle school, and that altered with him throughout his high school.
Right.
Yeah,
Your mom.
Grant played.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Grant played varsity, I'm pretty sure, junior and senior year.
Yeah.
A little lefty out there. He's always been the shortest one out there, so having to find different ways to get himself and others involved.
How about your mom and dad? What are their names?
Chris Devine, he played back at Bremen. He's also a really good shooter, even though he can't really do it anymore. He likes to say he was, but
I remember Chris. I remember your
Yep.
dad. I do.
Yeah. My mom, Jody Devine, she was a swimmer back in the day. That was her favorite. She also played basketball, but she was all right.
Sounds like you come from an athletic family. It must be kind of, fun except for the competition, just because you got a lot of stuff in common.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone pushing each other to get better, and it's just great. Great to be around.
How about you? What's your favorite subject in school?
Probably math. When I get out of college, I'll probably do something in business and accounting. So probably math. Yeah.
You math guys, you make me crazy. What happened to all the English and history people? That's where I was at.
Yeah, that's not for me. It's not awful.
Well, math ain't for me either, man. I can barely keep track of the score as I go along. But so you think you're gonna get involved with business?
Yeah, that's probably what I'm leaning towards right now. It's what my dad and my oldest brother are doing right now too. So
now, so far as college, I know you're only a junior, but have you kind of taken a look at where you might want to end up when you do make your decision?
yeah. So I've gotten one offer, and that's from Bethel University. And you talk to other coaches around the area, and you like them all, but we'll see what ends up happening. Not completely 100% sure yet.
Bethel's a good place. I ended up my college there, and I know a lot of guys that have gone there have had a real good experience. So I'm not trying to push you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
Got some familiarity with that, but anyway. Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time to talk to us and get to know you a little bit. And good luck the rest of the year. I'm sure we'll run into each other a time or two as we go down the road.
Yep, of course. Thank you. Thanks for the interview.
That is Chase Devine, our Tony the Boss Ross Player of the Week, and we will be right back.